Hello everyone, my name is Mouse Tutorial and today I'm going to show you how to add names for your items and blocks. Now I'm going to show you how to do this with a language file. And why do I want to do this with a language file? Well, some mods like it to have their mod translated into a lot of different languages. And that's very hard if you give it a name in the source code. So I'm not going to give it a name in the source code, I'm going to give the names in an external file. So I'll give you an example. This is my other mod, and this is the language file for it. And as you can see, I have all the names of all the blocks and items in here. And I can basically copy this file, give it a different name, and give it different translations. And that's it. I don't have to change the code for that. So that's how we're going to do it. That's what we're going to do actually. So let's actually show you what we're going to do. Now we're going to make a handler which is going to handle all the language files. Okay, sorry for my words today. So localization handler, which is going to be the class which handles all the localizations. And we're going to initialize it. Cool, so let's create that class localization handler. And it's going to go into core.handler. So this package handler is going to hold all the handlers. For now it's only going to be language, but later there will be more of them. Okay, so we're going to make an init public static void init. Okay, this goes like this. Yeah. So what do we want to do in here? We want to do one thing, but that requires a bit of a hassle. So we're also going to create a new class later in a bit, which is going to help us handle the language file. So we're also going to create a localization helper. But for now, we want to say, and I'm going to explain this in a bit, for string localization file, localizations.local files. Okay, so this is basically going to say for each and every file, for each and every language file, do something. So for each and every file you get, search through localizations, which is going to be a class which we're going to create later, for the localization. So that's going to be this class is going to hold all our it's going to hold all the files which are translation files. And for each and every of that file, we want to say language file, language registry, dot instance, dot load localization. Cool. And now you can see we need three parameters. First, we need a localization file. Second, we need the language. And third, we need if it is an XML file or not. And that's going to be a boolean. So the localization file is not going to be too hard because we have already put it right there. So localization file, we're going to get that. Now the language is going to be a problem because we need to get that from our helper class, and same is from our the boolean is XML. So we're going to do that in a bit. Now first thing I want to do is create a new package called core.helper. And inside here I'm going to say localization helper. So this is going to help us determine stuff for our localization handler. Okay, so first thing we need to check is if it is if the extension of the localization file is .xml. Wow, sorry for my words today. So public string boolean is XML file string file name. Let's do file name. Cool. So we're gonna either return true or false, and that depends on the suffix of the file name. So we're gonna return file name dot ends with .xml. So if the file name ends with .xml, then we're gonna return true, otherwise we're gonna return false. Okay, so the second thing we need is the localization. Now, our localization files are going to be called something like en.us.xml. Now, we're only interested in this part because that is the language. This is basically an extension which we don't need right now. So we're going to create a new method for that, which is going to check that. Public static string, needs static string. Public static string get local from file name. String file name. So we're gonna get a file name and we're gonna check something with that. Return. So we're gonna get something back. File name that gets up the substring, and the first index is file name dot last index of dash, because it will have something like asset slash mouse does mod slash en.xml. So we want to start at this character +1. So we're going to start right here, and we're going to end at file name dot last index of dot. So that's going to return the locale from file name. It's going to only return en.us. Okay, one more thing we need to do, and that is basically getting the content of the localization file. There's going to be a string in there which holds the in-game name, and we need to get that at some point. And we do that by the following method: public static string get localization string. And that's going to be require a key, and we're going to return language registry dot instance dot get string localization, and we need to give it the key. So this is going to basically return something that is in the file. Cool, save this, and now we go back to our handler. Now for a lang we can use our localization helper dot get locale from file name, and we give it the localization file. Now the XML, it can also be determined by our localization handler, localization helper, of course, dot is XML file, and we need to give it the localization file. So this should work. Now the only problem we have right now is that we don't have the localization class. So let's create that inside lib. So we want to make a public static string array of and how did I call it right here? Local files. That's gonna hold all our language files. So we're gonna have the default the default language directory plus the extension. So I'm gonna make a references.language location plus en_us.xml, because that's the language file I'm gonna make in a bit. So let's create that constant really quick, and that's gonna be the same as /assets /mod_id in lowercase /lang. So this is our default language location, and we're gonna add the extension en_us.xml. Sorry for that. Okay, so this is how it should work. Now we need to make the language file. So inside your source folder, you have a folder called mouse.mods. Inside there is a resources folder, assets, your mod ID in lowercase. Don't forget it needs to be lowercase. I had a question already about that. Lowercase, lang, So you might want to make that folder lang. And inside there goes your language file. Now I'm gonna open it up because you need to see that. And basically what you can do is you can copy this text. It's not important. The only important thing is the key. Now this is what you copy and paste again if you want to make more names. So this is gonna give my item base block a name. I don't have an item base block. Should be tab. So if I my block base block is gonna have this in-game name. If I were to have an item called base block, you could do it this way. You could also use a different name. Depends on what name you gave it in the unlocalized name. So if we go back to our source code real quick, base block, you can see that we gave it an unlocalized name, base block. That's the name that needs to be right here. And this name is going to be the in-game name. So for blocks you use tal.unlocalizedName.name, and for items you use tal.unlocalizedName.